She was at the top of her career at NDTV, 13 years, award winning filmmaker, the kind of success that everyone around you celebrates. Yet, she chose to walk away. My guest today is Natasha Badhwar, author, filmmaker, columnist, and one of the most quietly radical thinkers on what it means to live authentically. Today, we talk about the estrangement that we feel but are unable to name, and why she pulled her children out of school to raise them differently, and what it actually takes to be the sum of the full, flawed, complicated sum of who we are. A woman who's never stopped questioning herself, her choices, and the world she's raising her daughters in. Welcome to Eudaimonia. I came across you when I was probably in 11th or 12th. I read your articles, and when I was reading it, I was also in that romantic age when I was imagining what kind of mom I would be. And yeah, when I read that piece, it sort of made me feel like I would want to be a mom like you, thoughtful and gentle. And from then on, of course, you've gone ahead to write two books. But for the audience, if you could maybe introduce yourself a little bit, tell us what is it that you do with your time, what your family is like. That would be a great starting point.
Wonderful to know that you were a schoolgirl when you first read me. I was a schoolgirl when I first fantasized about writing in the way that I eventually did. So,
Mhm.
my first professional role really was that of a videographer with NDTV in the mid 90s. And then an editor, a producer, a documentary filmmaker. So I actually spent 13 years working in news television at a
Mhm.
very, very, I would say, glorious time
Mhm.
for the country and for the industry itself. They really were, years full of idealism and adventure.
Mhm.
And and I thrived in that role as a young filmmaker, a young videographer, a woman,
Mhm.
breaking barriers and paving the way for other people. And 13 years later, I quit. And I quit because I felt like there was so much more to me,
Mhm.
that there were other Natashas that needed expression,
Mhm.
and that I guess I also felt like I had peaked, and there was something else I wanted to do with my time, my energy. I wanted to find out who I am when
Mhm.
I'm not being this uh, hyperactive, successful television professional. And that was also the time that my first two daughters were born.
Mhm.
And so I'm also a young mom.
Mhm.
And when I came home uh, and spent time with myself with little children, our third child was born, is around that time I began to get closer to how I truly feel
Mhm.
and get closer to figuring out why I felt the dissonance that I felt
Mhm.
through writing. So I started a blog, and I called it My Daughter's Mom because I felt that there wasn't enough space in my very happening life to be fully my daughter's mom. I
Mhm.
felt that there was everybody was telling you what to do. There were all these predetermined notions of what a successful woman
Mhm.
should be like, what are the ways in which children must be treated, what
Mhm.
children are like. And none of that felt true to me.
Mhm.
Uh, and I felt very strongly like I was tapping into my own childhood, into my own self as a child, and
Mhm.
everything that had bothered me, everything that had made me angry and sad and confused. Now was the time to really figure it out
Mhm.
because I was raising, these little versions of me in
Mhm.
a sense,
Yeah.
and I wanted to do it as mindfully, as differently as one could. And somewhere my writing journey started there. My blog became quite successful. My social media posts became a little viral, and I got invitations to write in national newspapers. And eventually, I started the column
Right.
in Mint Lounge. So then I continued to be an independent filmmaker, and I also then became a columnist.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, the columns became books, so
Mm-hmm.
author. And I've always been interested in teaching, so one very strong part of my self is a teacher mentor. So I teach at Ashoka University, and I
Mm-hmm.
also do conduct independent workshops in both filmmaking as well as writing, and particularly writing memoir,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I've been practicing, and that's what I feel very passionate about and very committed to. Yeah.
Right. So, two things that sort of have stood out to me when I read you. One is self reflection, and the other is gentleness. So, let's talk about self reflection a little bit. You alluded a little bit to your journey of self discovery through writing. If you could talk a little bit more about that, because in my life, in my own life, and in the lives of people around me, what I see is it's quite difficult to really be open to who we are, to see where our flaws are. I think as adults, we tend to get stuck in the ways of being. And in your conversation with Amit Verma, I was also seeing that he was speaking about being stuck in grooves, and I think that is so true. That as adults, we just become a certain person to ourselves also. So, how have you been able to sort of manage this self reflection, manage to evolve, manage to, in some ways, vehemently chipped away at being the one version of Natasha? Because I think all of us need that.
All of us are very multifaceted. I think somewhere the way we are in society as well as in our schooling, where somehow we are kind of narrowing the boundaries of what you can be, insisting that if you're not the best at something, then it's not worth being that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're good at something, then to just keep being that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a tremendous narrowing of possibilities. It I think that is in many ways the root cause of competitiveness, of aggression, of insecurity, and eventually, mental illnesses,
Mm-hmm.
as well as physical illnesses. In that we do not seem to give ourselves the permission to be able to fully be who we are, to
Mm-hmm.
be the sum of all of the parts that we are. There's a constant pressure. Uh, oh, you're the mother of young kids. You must stop everything else and be just that. Oh, you have this big fat salary. You must neglect everything else and only be attentive to that. So,
Mm-hmm.
roles that are thrust upon us. And it's not a mystery to us. It's evident to all of us that when we narrow down, and when we kind of put ourselves into boxes,
Mm-hmm.
we are all dissatisfied,
Yeah. Yeah.
and success means nothing if at the same time we are angry and insecure, and worried about the pedestal just crumbling under our feet.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I suppose I became kind of devoted to the idea of finding my truth and of
Mm-hmm.
expressing my truth, and it isn't. I would. It's not a radical truth. Most of the time one feels like, but we know this, don't we? And it's it's. And I suppose that is why it is also so resonant when you say it and when you write it, because everyone's like, yeah, I feel like this, and I've always wanted to say it like this, but
Yeah.
you did it. And I've often kind of looked back again at what I've written, and I'm like, but I really didn't say much, did I? But there is a liberation
Yeah.
to allowing ourselves to look at our lives as they are, uh, not in these binaries of, are you happy or are you sad? Is it a good marriage or is it
Yeah.
toxic? Are you a good mother
Yeah.
or not? We are going to be flawed, and we are going to find happiness in our deepest sorrows, and our greatest happiness will be tinged with sorrow. It's the nature of life, it's the nature
Yeah.
of the world around us.
Yeah.
And I suppose that then, uh, when you wrote it for yourself, and then it began to resonate with others, it is truly then very encouraging,
Hmm.
to continue to, uh, to be like that.
Yeah. Now, you say it very simply, Natasha, but this bit that you're saying, that you were at the helm of everything at NDTV, and then to have the courage to sort of step away from that. I see people around me all the time who know they're dissatisfied, but it freaks them out to leave that and try something else. What gave you the courage?
No, you're absolutely right, and I think that it's not something to and one of the lines that comes to my head constantly is, just because I make it look easy doesn't mean it's not hard.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
so not to gloss over that.
yeah,
It is true. It is true that the insecurities are, they're almost a very natural part of where we
yeah,
are. I mean, we
yeah,
live in a capitalist society.
yeah.
If you uh, and you are supposed to constantly be
Mm-hmm,
bettering your
mm-hmm,
life economically,
mm-hmm.
uh, and our whole definition of being a good person or being a successful person is
Yeah,
um, is kind of about how much money do you make, and
yeah,
does it matter that you exist to anybody else? So it was, when I quit. I did not know what I was going to do next,
yeah,
but I also had at least a little bit of evidence that when I just throw myself into doing something that I
mm-hmm,
don't know very much about, I do land on my feet,
mm-hmm.
and that one is always supported
Yeah,
by peers, by colleagues, by family,
mm-hmm,
and that is not something to take lightly.
yeah,
So I have to say that in quitting my first job, I my my husband had a really a big role, and
mm-hmm.
we were fairly newly married at that time, so I didn't yet call him my husband. It was a word that I took a nice long time before I adopted, because we were so like, we don't want to, again, the same thing, that we don't want, uh, we've met, and there is love, and we don't want marriage to ruin it. We don't want to become husband and wife and then get into those roles,
Yeah,
which will
yeah,
diminish us and diminish our
right.
love. So there was, so I had a lot of support from him,
Mm-hmm,
and a lot of belief that that there was a lot more to me, and that
mm-hmm.
whatever I did, I was going to be able to rebuild myself
Right.
many times over, and that there was enough to uh, tide over
Mm.
times when one didn't have a salary. Like, he
Right.
would sometimes just say, "How much money do you need, Natasha?" And he'd be like, "All this money you save every month, what are you going to do with it?"
Hmm.
And I remember, like, marriage was not even on the cards, and I'd say, "I'm going to pay my children's fees with it." And like, one very
Y-
very long term
Yeah.
thinker
Yeah.
involved with one very short term, uh, got to make the moment matter person. And somewhere the combination of that, I think, was good for us.
Yeah.
So
Clearly.
yeah, lean into the people who love you, and ask for help, and believe that people will help you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
believe that you are much more than your fears.
Yeah. Yeah. Do
That
you think it's harder for men though? Like if your husband was to step away from this sort of a big thing and start doing your own thing, do you think he would have other insecurities than you?
Yeah, so well, my husband's not a good example, so, because he's forever stepping out and doing his own thing. So, but it's harder for men simply because of the roles of
Yeah.
breadwinner, simply because of the identity and the idea that masculinity
Mm-hmm.
is defined by the fact that you make a lot of money, that you're able to
Yeah.
support a family, bangla hai, gaadi hai,
Yeah.
those. So
Yeah.
it's really such a strong social and cultural construct
Yeah.
that it is harder for men, as in the same way that it is harder for women to be themselves in caregiving roles, because it's
Exactly.
just thrust upon you
Yeah.
that this is what is supposed to come to you naturally.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I hope that we are a generation, and generations after us uh, are men and women who are going to question this more and more, and reach out to
Mm-hmm.
the the other side of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, men can be soft and women
Yeah.
can be tough,
Yeah.
and they are, and they always have been. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
eh, but men only get permission to be a tender caregiver when a grandfather is taking their little
Yeah.
grandchild to the bus stop or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But all
Yeah.
the rest of their life, they've just never been expected to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not fair, in a sense, to either gender to be stuck.
Yeah. Absolutely. I heard you say somewhere we feel an estrangement that we do not name. And I found that sentence so beautiful. What is it, this quiet estrangement that you're talking about?
Doesn't it really exist in almost every relationship that we have?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about our relationship with our workplaces, our
Mm-hmm.
relationship with our parents,
Mm-hmm.
our relationship with our neighbors, our relationship with our governments. These are complex, and there are tremendous power dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
So either we want to be completely devoted to those who are in power, or we want to completely question them as unable to hold that position.
Yeah.
But the fact that your parents will make their mistakes, but they still love you,
Mm-hmm.
and that we are all capable of change
Yeah.
if we allow ourselves to acknowledge that we can make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
If being called out does not completely demolish us,
Yeah.
you know. So when we feel safe, we are able to ask for what we need. We are able to say, this doesn't work for me,
Mm-hmm.
without feeling that it will mean that I will be completely rejected. I will be thrown out
Right.
of my job, or I'll be thrown out of my home, or
Right.
that my relationship will crumble
Mm-hmm.
because I said something that came from an authentic core of me. And if when we do not have a space for that kind of expression, then what we are living with is an estrangement. And
Yeah.
eventually, then it is an estrangement with the self,
Mm-hmm.
because you are constantly not paying attention
Yeah.
to the needs of the self, to the
Yeah.
emotional needs, the psychological needs, even the physical needs.
Yeah.
Because it's all about wear a mask,
Yeah.
gloss over what you're really feeling, and go and play the role
Yeah.
that you're required to play. And nobody's interests are really being suited by that. I mean,
Yeah.
again and again, we find ourselves full of admiration when we meet somebody who's authentic, when we
Mm-hmm.
meet somebody who has an energy,
Yeah.
when we meet somebody who makes us feel safe.
Yeah.
And yet, we don't have enough permission to allow ourselves to be like that.
Why do you think that is, Natasha? Why do you think that we grow up feeling the need to, I guess, put up appearances?
I think that that's what society has consistently made itself to be.
Mm-hmm.
A younger me would say Indian society is like that, but an older me, is traveled enough, read enough, and has been in enough societies to know that somehow it's a completely universal global phenomena in every culture.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Mm-hmm.
not let anyone know how you truly feel. And this is a
Yeah.
certain set of behaviors and emotions that are acceptable in
Mm.
these kind of situations. And
Yeah.
that's all you have to keep playing out. And
Yeah.
it doesn't work for anybody. It certainly doesn't work for the very young.
Yeah.
But we are kind of trying to twist and train our children to become robotic adults. But it doesn't work for adults either. We are
Yeah.
constantly falling apart or becoming extremely angry people, or,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, look at the world around us,
Yeah.
fueled by hate, fueled by anger,
Yeah.
uh, destroying some of the best things that existed. And we are only calling them the best things because, that uh, a kind of solidarity between neighbors, between people is dwindling.
Yeah. That's true.
And I don't think it's terribly unique to our time. I think
Mm.
that there has always been, I mean, the Victorian era, the colonial times, there is, I mean, the Buddha left his home, and and that's
Yeah. Yeah.
thousands of years ago,
Yeah.
estranged from the role
Yeah.
that was thrust upon the young king, who also was a young husband and a young
Mm.
father.
Yeah.
But something made him say, "This is this doesn't work for me, and I have to go out and find the truth." So I think that there is something universal about a kind of socio-cultural, political thrust that uh, wants to keep people in a certain way, and wants to control the resources towards power and capitalism. And there has always been people
Mm.
who have resisted,
Yeah.
whether it's the poets, the writers, the filmmakers,
Yeah.
the leaders. There has always been
Yeah.
people who have stood up and built community
Yeah.
that has saved our souls.
Yeah. Now, what you were saying is reminding me of how early this starts. I'll tell you, I was at a birthday party of a 5-year-old, and there's another, maybe a 4-year-old kid, and there was a game of spinning the donkey's tail. And I asked this 4-year-old kid whether she had played the game, and she looked at me, and her face was completely downcast, and she said, "I did it wrong." And I couldn't believe my ears. I was so shocked to see that at the age of 4, you've society's already plugged that into you, that you're at a birthday party, and instead of having fun, you've already gotten into the binaries of right and wrong. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's, I mean, it starts way too early, way too early.
yeah. Yeah.
and it's really it's horrific,
Yeah.
and it's heartbreaking
Yeah.
to see that the child is not really having a childhood, is she?
No, not
You
at
know,
all.
we all kind of, uh, at least in our generation, we would say, my inner free child. Like,
Hmm.
at least there was an inner free child that I can access. But more and more, where is that small bracket of free childhood
Yeah.
that they're getting?
Yeah. And I'll tell you another incident. This is again with the 5-year-old, and she was whatever being a 5-year-old, and in the middle of her play, while she was playing the teacher, she ended up telling us, "Ah, very good. Ah, you've colored in the wrong place. Very good." And
Mm,
we were laughing at it initially, and then when I was thinking about it, it seemed quite horrible to me that you're learning sarcasm at school. I felt like that was off, that you're teaching sarcasm at this early an age. And B, I was thinking of the poor another 5-year-old who was probably at the end of this sarcasm from a teacher. And I was like, okay, and this is after people have done so much work in trying to figure out which is the right school to put their kid in. Like, how many criteria do you sort of tick off? Where do you stop?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that brings me to, what made you decide to unschool your children?
So I I have to admit that I started reading about homeschooling and unschooling when I put our first child. Uh, when our first child was first went to play school, I would come back
Mhm,
home and or on my weekends, and I was still working at that time. On my weekends, I would be
mhm,
using my
mhm.
dial-up modem to connect to the internet and try to find resources on homeschooling, or try to read about
Yeah.
homeschooling to kind of try to understand if it was something I could do. And
Mhm.
and I remember feeling at that time that no, I can't. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
This is not for me.
Mhm,
And we had other friends who were actually homeschooling their kids
mhm,
and running a school
mhm.
for tribal children at the same time, and their children were going to the same school run by their parents.
Right.
And we even went and stayed with them for a few days. And I remember in my mind was, can I stay in a
Right.
rural tribal area and
Right.
raise my children
Right.
in this way? And we weren't ready.
Yeah.
Between my husband and I, we
Yeah.
weren't ready.
Yeah.
So we did other things. We moved out of Delhi. We came to a suburb. We chose a very small, very new school, which had they said wonderful things about how they were going to treat the children, and
Mhm,
there were also people from legacy schools of
mhm,
Delhi who wanted to correct some of the things that they hadn't been able to do in their early schooling
mhm,
years. So it, there were a series of calculated, mindful decisions
mhm.
on how to have a school system that does not deride the child constantly,
Yeah.
that is gentle, where children are playing enough,
Mhm,
where all their talents are being recognized, where they're not coming back home bundled by exams and homework. And that was a school that we chose for them.
mhm.
And eventually, the older kid came to middle school. Things begin to change. They get
Yeah.
very difficult. Children's ages are very, they're very sensitive at that
Mhm.
time. Their peers are coming from all kinds of homes.
Right.
They're learning about things. We changed their school to another very progressive, very famous school. And what I began to recognize was the same estrangement in my children.
Mm.
And it was a little bit of a shock
Mm.
to see that here I am doing everything differently. I've made
Yeah.
notes all my young life
Yeah.
and my adult years on what not to do. And I'm constantly negotiating with the system. I was also by that time a columnist, and
Mm-hmm.
I wrote many essays on things that happen in school and what parents can do about it and what I was doing about it. But we came to a point where the impact mainstream schooling was having on our children
Mm-hmm.
did not seem like something to take lightly.
Mm-hmm.
And around that time, again, there was always that search at the back of my mind. Like, can I
Yeah.
choose
Yeah.
an alternate way of doing this? So around that time, we got in touch with the Learning Society's UnConference,
Mm-hmm.
LSUC, which is a community of people who unschool their children. And we went and attended one of their annual meetings in Bangalore, which had
Mm-hmm.
about 800 people from various families, elderly people, very young people, anybody seeking the alternate path, anybody wanting to find a way to live outside of the very narrow
Mm-hmm.
ideas of mainstream life.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's where I then met a fair number of people. I met unschooled kids, I met parents, I met grandparents, and I looked at my kids and I said, "I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
If you are."
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was immediately ready. One of them said, "I want to finish this year and take my exams, and then I'll let you know." And a third one said, "Hey, I'm okay with my school," because she was in a
Mm.
Waldorf school,
Mm.
in an alternate school at that point. And so they took their decisions differently.
Right.
And what what I had learned by that time was that the children are co-creators of this
Mm.
family parenting journey. That
Mm-hmm.
they are not that they are that I can ask them and I can trust them, and I
Mm-hmm.
can there is a language that we can evolve
Yeah.
where we are able to express to them what we think are the pros and cons and allow them to process
Mm-hmm.
it in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what it's been. 2018 onwards, then my children, two of them began to unschool, and then in 2019 the third one also joined them, and then they unschooled for the next many years. And unschooling then means that you have taken control over what is the curriculum that you're going to study,
Mm-hmm.
what is the way in which you're going to study, what is the order in which you're going to study,
Mm.
and you keep negotiating with the systems of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You keep trying to see where you can enter and exit the systems of the world. And one of the things that most people don't know, just like the decision about quitting one's job, is that you're led to believe that you will come on the streets, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that there is that without a salary you will not be able to feed yourself beyond 2 months. There
Yeah.
are a million ways in which you can do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
There are a million ways in which you can live your life differently.
Yeah.
And the same with schooling. If you don't go to a mainstream school, if you're not enrolled full time
Mm-hmm.
in a mainstream school, you can still take mainstream boards, you can
Mm-hmm.
still go to college, you can still uh, sit for Olympiad exams. And so in the unschooling community, in fact, it's so inspiring
Mm-hmm.
that it really needs to be perhaps better known,
Right.
because some of the brightest kids, most talented, gifted kids
Mm-hmm.
are unschooling because school is trying to chop off
Yeah.
school is trying to can only work with the average. The
Correct.
minute you scale to the size at which most schools are,
Yeah.
you cannot, you're neither
Yeah.
accommodating the gifted, nor
Yeah.
are you accommodating the ones who need have special needs.
Correct.
And also, gifted kids have special needs, and special needs needs kids have gifts.
Correct.
And again,
You're not
education will
equipped.
want to
Yeah.
create a binary,
Yeah. Yeah.
that you're either in or you're out.
Right.
And so we needed a space in which we could nurture our gifts without the pressure that we had to monetize them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And we could look at what our special needs are. I mean, I am, if a child is not being able to deal with the social environment of the school, then what is happening in that environment? What are
Right.
the tools that this child needs,
Yeah.
or this person needs? I mean, all of us need. We're
Yeah.
constantly all forever having meltdowns, right?
Right.
What is it that we need to be able to cope better?
Yeah.
And so asking for help is,
Yeah.
again, one of the biggest tools we have.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like you were saying, it's hard to imagine what a kid would do if they didn't go to school. It's so industrialized into our brains that this is how kids are supposed to sort of come up. And I think for 99% of folks, it would be like, what? What are you even saying? This is
Yeah,
not something
yeah,
which is possible to do. How will the kid ever get a job? How will the kid know how to navigate life, etc.?
yeah.
So
All
tell me.
unschooling kids
Mhm.
actually start working almost earlier than
Right,
school kids,
right.
because you've just taken away, you've removed that structure that says
Yeah,
undergrad, PG, da, 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 da.
right.
And then the child is like, wait a minute, I know how to work with this world that I have been born into. And
Right.
I must emphasize that I was at that time then reading a lot of parents, a lot of, what personal stories of people who have unschooled their children, who are in that process.
Mm-hmm.
Every year we meet the community at least twice a year. Now the children go independently and meet their friends all over the country. So it is also an example of community and solidarities
Of course,
that
of
makes
course.
it possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you were the only one in the country doing it, that would be scary. So, of
Yeah, yeah.
course. Tell me, when it comes to mainstream media as well, how did you, I guess, regulate exposure to mainstream media with your kids? Because that, again, has such an obvious way of determining how kids end up thinking about themselves, about the world. What worked for you?
Drastic things, I suppose, that didn't feel so drastic to us. I cut off our cable supply to our television set when my first child was probably 3 years old. Um, you know, I mean, what are we even seeing? I mean, what are the adults going to miss anyway? And this is pre-OTT.
Yeah.
This is a pre-OTT time.
Right,
So,
right,
I mean, adults, if they want to know what is on the news, there are many other ways in which they can find out. Um,
right.
there are many ways in which we can entertain ourselves. There needs to be
Mm-hmm.
family time. There needs to be no other stimulation uh, uh, time for us. So
Mm-hmm.
we just got rid of television very early, and
Yeah.
I got rid of my smartphone for many years.
Wow. That
For
is
many
something.
years when they were little, because I my first iPhone, my brother got it for me, and my kids were little, and
Hmm.
I didn't open it from the box for a year and a half. And then when I opened
Wow.
it, I used it as a camera. Uh, simply it was an iPhone 4,
Yeah.
and I just used it as a camera. I did not kind of
Set it
because
up.
I guess I had no conscious way of knowing, but I guess I knew
Mm.
that will will do to me
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
I would rather postpone at this point.
Right. Wow. That is
So
drastic.
I I did that, and that is not to say that our children did not grow up watching popular culture or having exposure to popular culture. So they would we would buy DVDs, we would watch films, and what that meant was the first lot of film and media that was coming into our house was what I was bringing in.
Yeah.
And then it was very much about what the children like and what the
Mm-hmm.
children are picking up.
Yeah.
So they grew up watching a lot of films,
Mm-hmm.
but they grew up choosing what they want to watch. They grew
Yeah.
up choosing what is it that they want to rewatch, and they grew up without ads. So sometimes they would go out and they would read a billboard and they would say, and they wouldn't know what it was because they were not being bombarded constantly.
Right.
I mean, it's not even subliminal anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
and now it's the same with our screens, right? That
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ad is taking up
Yeah.
that much more space.
Right.
So these were some pretty conscious choices. We go for holidays to the forests. We go and spend time in Oroville, where they roam around on cycles and they're doing horse riding and yeah. S- s- instead of having a life in which actively we are breaking away their connection with nature,
Mm.
which is really one of the things we're estranged from, isn't it?
Yeah. Very
We
much
try
so.
to design a life in which we have access to silence, to
Yeah.
trees, to grass,
Yeah.
to animals. And every year we go to our village about 3 times, at least. There was one, I mean, sometimes 5 times, sometimes.
Wow.
And so they have a home in the village and they play in the mud, and and that is something that just we were lucky we could do it, but also we chose to do it
Yeah.
quite actively.
Yeah. This is also reminding me, I think, of, I can't remember whether I read it or I heard you saying it, but I remember you were talking about COVID times and how you were really busy up till a point with COVID, and then maybe you were working a lot even from home. And then one of the girls told you that she's been missing you, and then some cats and dogs found their way to your home,
Yes,
and how
yes, absolutely,
um,
yeah,
nurturing
yeah.
them
So
nurtured you. So that's so true that you need to spend time in nature. um, and it's such a pity, honestly, for our I stay in Bombay, that there's hardly any space. Kids just go down and maybe have a tiny little patch to play in. It's just, I think, the biggest disservice that we could do to ourselves and our kids, even us. I think the amount of difference that it makes if you just look at greenery for some time. Yeah, I think, as
yeah,
you already spoke about not having a smartphone, etc. I don't think most people will be willing to take such drastic decisions, but
it
in
was the early
today's
years of smartphone. Yeah,
still, in today's day and age where everybody is so busy and running around, etc., what do you think are some ways that parents can make their kids feel seen, feel valued?
yeah. I was like, see them, value them.
It's very
No, but
natural to
it,
you.
it
That's
is.
why.
It's
That's
very much
why.
about carving out time and space. It's very much about carving out time and space, um, and learning a lot by hit and miss. There are
Yeah.
any number of holidays where you reach a point in the holiday when you're like, whose idea was this? Why did I do this? Why don't I just take some conventional decisions? Why did I have to design this whole thing myself? And then you will go through uh, times of doubt. You will go through uncertainty, and really, I think the long term game is, do you allow yourself
Hmm.
to give do you give uncertainty some space in your life,
Yeah.
or are you yourself so afraid
Right.
that you're constantly looking for a quick fix solution?
Right.
And that's then what you're going to give to your kids. um, one of the, the like books and reams and reams of books have been written on parenting and parenting advice, and we know at the core of it, kids will do what the parents do. They
Yeah.
will learn from, it's
Watching.
who, from watching. You are role modeling
Yeah.
constantly, so you can't be like, I'm allowed 24-hour smartphone access, but you aren't.
Yeah.
They'll find some other way,
Yeah.
or I'm sending them to a certain school, and that school will give them access to nature. If they have one
Yeah.
class where they go and touch cows once a week, or some such thing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
but but
Yeah.
have you made it, has that become a part of your life? Have you, are you practicing
Yeah.
what needs to be done? So I mean, so my husband's rule is everybody at the table for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's traveling, it's true that all four of us will go to some other corner and we will find some way, or somebody will eat from the kitchen, or, we'll find some way of being defiant.
Yeah.
But which is like, okay, we love that liberation as well.
Yeah.
But the reason we are safe doing that is because at core we are bound by
Yeah.
a certain kind of ritual.
Right.
And losing family rituals, losing, um, basically, I think what we have given away uh, to gadgets and to social media, and to all kinds of media in our lives, is all the time and space
Yeah.
that we could have had,
Yeah.
that we need to have to connect with each other.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, there's no replacement for that.
Yeah. I love what you said about making space for uncertainty. And like you're saying, if kids are indeed learning by observing, and like you said, it's pretty obvious that that's all they're doing, then the way you deal with uncertainty is also something that they're watching. Otherwise, they are also looking for perfect control in their lives, which honestly there isn't any of.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so to model this openness to, I guess, the illusion of control, letting go of the illusion of control is so important, so that they know that there will be things which they won't know how they're going to turn out, but they're going to turn out okay, irrespective. And you
yeah,
need to keep your
yeah.
head screwed on.
And
Uh,
that you learn something from the
yeah,
experience.
yeah,
And it doesn't, you don't have to kind of write yourself off
yeah,
because you made a big mistake.
yeah, 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 absolutely. Another bit that I really loved about, among the many things that I love about what you say, is the one of about being vulnerable in front of your kids. I am surrounded by people who have young kids, um, and the attempt, I think, is to always look like things are in control and everything is fine all the time, except that I feel that kids are very perceptive, that even if you are pretending like things are okay, they can feel the energy in the room.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And this is not some mumbo jumbo.
yeah,
Kids, I mean, kids are, they are so, they are connected to their parents,
yeah,
and not just to their mother, to their parents, to their grandparents, to everybody. They're so attuned,
yeah,
and we can recover that in
yeah,
ourselves.
yeah,
That level of empathy, we can recover that in ourselves.
yeah,
um, it's it's only because this kind of surviving and thriving in a competitive world kind of says, do not think about the other. What do
mm,
you care what happens? They
yeah,
must lose so you can win.
yeah,
We are very actively kind of breaking the connection between
yeah,
people, breaking,
yeah,
I know, we have like, what separates us from AI, that human beings care, human beings have empathy. But wait a minute, we are born with it. We don't have to
yeah,
teach it at a
right.
postgraduate level.
Yeah, that's
We have
true.
to not destroy it in the first place.
Right. What has your experience been in showing your vulnerabilities to your kids? What has that felt like?
I think I have to say that I just trusted them
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't I I knew that from the identity of becoming a mother, I
Mm.
think I very uh, naturally imbibed that I will be strong, but also very naturally imbibed that uh, I must be gentle and vulnerable. If I am not open to feeling my feelings, I am
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to listen to their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot sit on uh, unnamed self hatred or unspoken disassociation from my own parents
Yeah.
and expect to have a perfectly wonderful, loving relationship with my children.
Right.
I have to heal anything that I have kind of
Yeah.
swept in the corner
Yeah.
to be able uh, to have an authentic relationship with my children. That just life teaches you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you want to be a broken person,
Yeah.
but life teaches you that you can't do it all. You're going to have to ask for help. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to come apart. You're going to have to let go of your idea of perfection
Yeah.
constantly
Yeah.
because it's so alluring. It's
Yeah.
so alluring. That image of the sexy young mother with her suitcase and her kid and everything. Said,
Yeah.
you can do it
Yeah.
once or
Yeah.
twice,
Yeah.
but but you'll do it at the cost of something.
Right. Right.
And that is being paid by you, by your child, and by your family life.
Right.
And it's the same thing, I think, then, if we are not speaking the truth to ourselves, and we are not speaking the truth to our neighbors, to our relatives, to
Yeah.
in our workplaces, and we're just perpetuating then the same
Yeah.
things that estrange us.
You mentioned this thing about your parents. So I find that a lot of us also have unresolved issues with our parents, and I don't know where the spectrum lies of how people deal with their parents, but uh, what's your experience been? How do you sort of go ahead and humanize your parents? Because as kids, I remember that you look at your parents like some demigods, like they couldn't do any wrong. And when they do, like everyone will, like I will when I'm a mom, uh, then you're almost shocked and in denial and all kinds of things. So how have you dealt with it?
I went through my own rebellious teenager, angry, uh, defiant, mean,
Yeah.
uh, trash talking young daughter.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, I mean, it is the safest space we have, and that's where some of the. It's not just your anger at your parents; it's your anger at the whole world that is
Yeah.
boxing you in. But you will only be able to express it where you are safe,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful reminder to me now that my daughters are 20 and 22, and they if they are angry with me, or if they say something that sounds mean to me, then I have to remember that I am their safest space,
Yeah.
and that I must not shut down that space just because my
Yeah.
feelings are hurt in the moment.
Yeah.
So
And history repeats itself.
yeah,
Yeah.
as it will, because
Yeah.
it's
Yes,
it's
it
the
will.
it's the nature of intimate relationships that
Right.
they if they are true, then they will be multifaceted. We will disappoint each other. we will not be able to meet all the needs of the other,
Yeah.
and we will have high expectations, because how can we not? And then we learn to moderate those expectations.
Right.
So, I mean, my parents, it's just about, I suppose, being open and reflective and being humble. Let me say it again, humble. To know that you made your own mistakes. You were as mean to them as you felt they were being mean to you. At some point,
Yeah.
uh, you neglected them as much as you felt that they were, and that you can repair your relationship. The
Yeah.
love doesn't go away anywhere.
Yeah.
uh, and politics and opinions and money and all of these things, these are, you can deal with them.
Yeah.
They come and they go, and um, the connection is the most sacred thing. It will revive.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do actually go away and you break away and you need to heal yourself, and you can't do it in the same place
Yeah.
where you have been hurt.
Yeah.
And you have to then give yourself the permission to do that without
Yeah.
feeling that if you leave or you're not there for others when they needed you, you can never come back.
Yeah. Yeah. So much of it is about giving ourselves permission for so many things that I feel like we are not able to um, do. Um, just changing tack a little bit. If you think about the world out today, it's so negative. There's so much sadness around. In this situation, how do you hold on to hope?
What else do you hold on to? No, I get a lot of hope from young people. I teach at university, and I'm constantly meeting kids like my own kids.
Mhm.
Everybody a little different facet of the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Everybody with their own talents, their own
Hmm.
needs,
Hmm.
and so I do get a lot of hope from them. I've there's all these things we hear about young people these days, like this, like that,
Yeah.
but that's not what they're like when you know them. And then you realize, wait a minute, this is such an oft repeated script, isn't it? I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
Like the hippies of the 60s, and then every decade has just
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
has written off.
Yeah.
Older people have written off younger
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
uh, but at the core, we remain the same.
Right.
And I do feel that, in fact, they are stronger, more aware, uh, more reflective,
Hmm.
more willing uh, to 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 explore all parts of themselves,
Right. Yeah.
instead of just following the hand-me-down scripts that they get. So I do get a lot of hope from those of us, what we might call civil society, from those of us who are not uh, actively uh, in governance and in power structures, but we are the life that this
Yeah.
planet is.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be so easy to see the environment outside and either start screaming our heads off in annoyance, or withdraw completely. What do you think is a better way of engaging with how our lives are?
Yeah, it's seriously, this binary of very active engagement, burnout, then
Yeah.
uh, withdrawing,
Yeah.
recovering, coming back.
Yeah.
It's I have to say, it's been pretty much a cycle for me as well. Um, but what I've been practicing now for 4 years with a teacher is, uh, you know, um, a combination of meditation, silence, yoga, breath work, uh, just a time eked out, a very small amount of time every week eked out just to be silent with the
Mm-hmm.
self.
Mm-hmm.
And there has been so much healing in just that practice.
Mm-hmm.
So much the mind is able to solve on its own when you give it the time,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to detach from the story, to allow
Yeah.
your emotions to pass through you.
Yeah.
The challenges of life will always be there, you know.
Mm.
uh,
Yeah.
and I don't think that we are necessarily living in a more difficult time than our parents or grandparents did. You know, they
Right.
lived with a ration and shortages,
Yeah.
and grandparents lived with partition, and
Yeah.
before that with
Yeah.
the colonial era. So it's not like there was some golden period before
Mm-hmm.
us and we got
Mm-hmm.
the wrong end of the straw.
Mm-hmm.
So navigating one's own emotions and capacity and regulating is definitely just, I think it's a life skill
Mm.
that
Yeah.
that all of us need to revive in ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. That brings me to your memoir writing. What has your memoir writing workshops? What has that experience been like?
Yeah. So I, like I said at the beginning, I'd started writing my blog. It got popular. It seemed to resonate. I started writing my column. And at the time that I was writing My Daughter's Mom in Mint Lounge, there was no other column that kind of came in that category of
Mm-hmm.
personal writing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and there was a fair amount of pushback sometimes. There was some mocking, like, why would you want to write like this? But at the same time, there were enough people and enough readers who loved it, who liked it, publishers who wanted to publish it, and books that sold. Um, and then I wrote it for 10 and a half years. And then finally, we came to a point where we didn't have such, a good synergy
Mm.
anymore. And I stopped writing the column itself, and I started writing in another newspaper where it was called Immortal for a Moment in the Tribune. And around that time, we've just come out of COVID. It's 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher in me, who would earlier have never thought that she could teach writing because I never learned writing
Mm.
uh, in academically.
Mm-hmm.
I learned writing from reading,
Mm.
and I learned writing from writing,
Right.
like one learns to run
Yeah.
and walk.
Right.
And most of the things we learn from doing, uh, began to feel that I have a sense of where it comes from and what it can do for you.
Mm.
So I asked a friend for help again, and I never do anything on my own. I find my friends. So I asked my friend for help, and she's a publisher with Yoda Press, and
Mm-hmm.
she set up the first workshop for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they put out a call for entries. They wrote to writers. They looked at the entries, and they offered me a cohort, and I just had to
Right.
teach. And as soon as I began to do it, I was like, and I was also really surprised, Rituparna, to find that there were other people who wanted to write like this
Right.
and who were very good at writing like this.
Mm-hmm.
So that then made me feel, well, if there was one cohort, perhaps there's another
Yeah.
and another. And when I put out the call, then there are now 500 writers who've written with me in the last
Wow.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them facilitate their own workshops.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they collaborate with me to facilitate some of the workshops.
Right.
Just like that, I discovered that there are a lot of people who are very good writers who have a need to tell their stories, express their stories, and that who make such a beautiful community
Yeah,
of support for each other,
yeah,
reading each other, encouraging each other, being witness to each other's best selves.
yeah.
And so, yeah, it was not something I thought I would do. I saw myself doing, but I did it. And now I can't see myself stopping. I imagine myself as an 80-year-old who's still, working with writers of all
Right,
kinds
right.
and continuing to write. So 10 years of writing the column did not teach me as much about what it what as much about the healing part of writing
Mm-hmm.
as writing in a community of writers
Right.
did.
Were there tears? Are there tears in these workshops?
A lot. There are
Sound.
a lot of tears and there's a lot of laughter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I meant tears as in a release, which is what all of us really need to get more in touch with ourselves.
Uh,
Um, this has been so great, Natasha. Thank you so much for opening your heart to me. If you were to think of what your dream for the world would be, what would that look like?
a dream for the world. I know that there is enough space and resources in this world for everyone. And my dream for the world would really be that we all believed that and allowed each other
Yeah,
to be the best versions of themselves in the way that they're capable of being. Yeah.
that's so lovely, Natasha. This has been such a privilege to be able to talk to you and hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for making this time.
It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you, Rituparna. Absolutely.
Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to your comments and feedback. Before you go, can I ask for a favor? If you like the show, would you consider subscribing? It's an easy way to support us, and we promise to keep doing what we're doing and try and do even better. Thank you.